Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Today, we are going to discuss emotional maturity. How to know if you haven't, how to know if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't, and all points in between. If you're new here, please subscribe, like, comment, and if you have an audio you'd like to hear, please feel free to ask. For those who are interested, I've had a couple of inquiries as to where I get my photos. I do use a stock photo place so as not to impinge upon anybody's copyright information. I do animals and pretty scenes just because I think it's nice to have, if somebody's going to look at something, nice to have something to look at. Anyway, we're going to talk about emotional maturity and what it is and how to know if you've got it, not all that good stuff. So there's about 6 or 7 things we're going to go through here, and you can comment below when you knew you were emotionally mature or when you knew you were being emotionally immature. We've all had those moments. So if you can explain your feelings relatively well and identify them, if you can say, this is what I feel and here's why, it's a sign of emotional maturity. A lot of people get one of the others. They understand they either get the why. I'm upset because blank, right? Or people upset me, or relationships upset me, or I feel angry but I don't know why. But when you can put the two together, explain the feeling and the reason, you've got emotional maturity. The more cohesively and coherently you can do that, the more maturity you're showing. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have traumatic experiences where your emotions are all over the place and you can't explain what you're feeling, because in trauma the brain is reacting differently, and so it would be very unlikely for you to be able to do that. But when we're talking about when most things are okay and your emotions are not in an extreme circumstance, you're able to articulate them appropriately. The setting and keeping of boundaries is another one. So when you're immature, people pleasing is a big part of the process, right? Because you don't want to tick anybody off, you don't want anyone to have negative emotions, you don't want to be the cause of anybody's pain to an excessive level. And so that usually begets being a people pleaser, not being willing to set boundaries. So an emotionally mature person realizes that there's only so much time in a day. They also realize that there's only so many things they can commit to, or only so much energy they can give to a situation. So they have clear, defined boundaries, which are, hey, I'll do this for you, but this is all I can do. And they keep them. No matter what the emotional state of the person around them is, no matter how much guilt is attempted to be used or negative emotion is attempted to be used against them, and no matter how much input they get from other people. Because a lot of times where boundaries get in trouble is either the person that's asking you to do something guilts you into it, or you'll have a friend or a family member or a mentor, and I've even seen some counselors and coaches do this, and it drives me nuts, say, you need to reconsider this because. No. You need to know what your boundaries are. You need to keep your boundaries. Now, reassessing them weekly or monthly, good idea. But making decisions based upon someone else's perception of your boundaries 100% of the time is a bad idea, because it's not you committing to it, it's you people pleasing and then committing to something to avoid conflict. And that never ends well, no matter who you are. So another sign of emotional maturity is owning your mistakes, being willing to learn from them, and endeavoring them not to make them again. So own your mistakes. Hey, we're all human, right? And part of the human condition is that we mess up from time to time. We miscalculate things, we overextend ourselves, we assume, we do lots of boneheaded things. It's part of being human. So an emotionally mature person is going to own the fact they made the mistake. They're going to say, here's why I did that, here's what I was thinking, and then they're going to go, and for the future, I don't want to do that again, so I'm going to do this instead. So there's 3 parts to being emotionally mature when it comes to mistakes. And I see so much immaturity, and it doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter where in the country or in the world it is. It doesn't matter what gender, it doesn't matter what age. I see that as a culture, as a society, emotional immaturity as it relates to mistakes and the desire to be accepted is a major problem that is getting worse and worse. And that's because people are afraid to be vulnerable to constructive criticism because other people have used criticism as a tool of guilt rather than a tool of construction for so long that admitting you've made a mistake is a big challenge. I know as a business owner, I have made countless mistakes in my business. And to be honest, countless mistakes in personal relationships and not having good time management skills was a major problem for me before my body gave out. So I know where my blind spots are. I acknowledge them. I learn from them. I study people who have been where I am and have overcome it. That's a big thing. If you're serious about not making the same mistake 2 or 3, 4 times, then study people who've made the mistake and changed their behavior. Don't study your friends or your family because they're going to give you an out. They're going to say, oh, but you're doing the best you can. Really? No, your best is making changes to behaviors that aren't serving you well. And it's very difficult to do that if you have people joining with you in your rationalization of your mistakes. The next one, active choices. So, you don't make emotional choices, you make active choices. Active choices are choices where, yes, emotion may start the journey to make the decision, but you're able to use your logical mind when thinking through actions and consequences, even if you're emotionally affected. So, something like, and here's how it works in the brain. I might be sad, but I don't want to spend that money because I'm going to need it later. I might be angry, but I don't want to go to jail, so I'm not going to punch this person in the face. I might be depressed, but there are things I want to do with my life, so I'm not going to drink because if I drink, things could get worse. I might be despondent and desperate, but I'm not going to reach out to my ex-lover because they're abusive with their language. So, it's the acknowledgement of the emotion followed by the logical reasoning associated with actions and consequences and ability to make good decisions. So another one here is clear and concise communication. An emotionally mature person knows how to ask for what they need, knows how to not overburden other people, and knows how to go, if you can't do it, I got to find someone who does. So here's the thing with that. Active and clear communication is, this is what I need. Here's why I need it. And I'm going to get it done no matter what. Can you help me or not? And you don't guilt the other person if they say no. You just move on and realize there's 7 billion people in the world. And somebody out there has the capability and the desire and the willingness to help you. This is so difficult because people often think, oh, my friend circle is so small or my family should. Trust me, if you are talking about a lot of shoulds in your life and your life isn't what you want it to be, your shoulds are a big contributing reason why. Just because you believe something should be some way doesn't mean that it is that way, and furthermore, doesn't mean that it'll ever be that way. So it's okay to say, I would like things to be this way. I need things to be that way, and so I'm going to go into relationships or situations or circumstances that allow me to get where I need to be. Remember, staying involved in social situations and or professional situations that are not progressive will lead you to lose yourself, and it's not worth it. So the last two things here are you're aware of your needs and the need, no pun intended, to reevaluate them. So what I need at 38, which is where I am now, and what I need at 58 are going to be different things. And what I need in the summer is going to be different than what I need in the winter. Think of it like clothing, right? You're not going to go out dancing in your shorts if it's 10 degrees outside, but at the same time, you don't need that winter coat if it's 95 degrees outside. So what your needs are change based on the environment you're in. Emotions are the same way. What you needed when you were 20 from a relationship or from a job or what you need from a 3-year-old that's a kid, compliance to take a nap, is a lot different, I hope, than what you need from a 13-year-old in terms of responsibility. And changing that needs portfolio, what do I need from this situation, this person, this job, this circumstance, this group of people, is something you should do. I would recommend weekly taking a 15 to 30 minute time out and saying, hey, here's what I need, and hey, here's how my needs are changing. Here's what isn't working. Here's what is working. Here's where I'm growing, and here's where I'm faltering. These are reasonable thoughts. And so if you do that, you're less likely to waste months or years of your life on things that aren't working. Lastly, an emotionally active person, an emotionally mature person, is an active listener. They understand that, and I have a mentor who said when I was very young, speak half the time that you listen, or listen double the time that you speak. In other words, there's more to learn by taking multiple inputs than there is by giving your opinion. Now, there's a time and place to give your opinion, but it is when it's asked for. And let me put that on pause, because that's a sign that I have, in fact, a telephone call coming in. We will come back in 2 shakes of an oxtail. Active listeners also realize the importance of not overextending themselves. That is, trying to multitask when listening versus not listening at all. Or if they're multitasking, acknowledging they're multitasking and asking for clarity if they get confused. An active listener is not interested in putting their agenda or their opinion ahead of the act of listening. So these are signs of emotional maturity. And if you're not as mature as you'd like to be, working with a coach can be helpful to see where your blind spots are emotionally. Also to work through mechanisms that would allow you to be more emotionally aware and mature. And understanding that it's a life journey. So where you are now and where you are a year from now or 6 months from now should be different. And hopefully the more you grow, the more different things are over a span of time. In any event, I encourage you to reach out if there's anything I can do to be of service. Please keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.